Hello girls, following on from earlier this week's blogs, we actually amazingly received quite a few emails, so thanks for that, and comments.
I can't believe it.
And funnily enough, we've actually got some questions from some girls out there, which we thought we'd take the time to answer online. So Tombo, why don't you ask away, and I'll pretend I know what I'm talking about.
First question we've got is from Jackie in Oakland. She's talking about pregnancy test, and her question is, should I do the pregnancy test with my husband? Any advice you can give me on this topic would be fantastic.
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question, Jackie. Right, what would I say to that? Well, the reality is, I guess it comes down to you. Are you going to be upset when you find out, if you find out that you're not pregnant? Because as a guy, in most instances, Tom, I think you probably agree, he's not going to be upset if it's negative.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's probably not going to be able to supply
nowhere near as upset as you are potentially going to be if it is negative.
He's not going to be able to supply you with probably the compassion and the sort of things that you would hope he'd say. Now, if you are pregnant, you also run the risk that maybe he won't be as excited as what you think.
Yeah. So I think our advice would be probably do it by yourself, and then whichever way it goes, you can then identify the best way to manage it from that point on.
And we'll do a blog in a few days on actually how to tell him that you're pregnant and how to get him excited from day one. So recapping, answer, do it by yourself, unless he's super excited about the whole thing and he's really bugging you, wants to be involved, in which case, of course, get him involved. Hope that helps, Jackie. Okay, Tombo, next cab off the rank.
Sarah from New York asks, how do I break it to him to get his sperm tested?
Good question. Well, if you need him to get his sperm tested, the chances are you've probably been banging away for a few months without much result. And as we discussed in our last blog, obviously it can be difficult to keep the intimacy going. So, two things I'd suggest is, one, by explaining to him that it will make the whole process a lot quicker, potentially. You can identify any problems, and that can save you sometimes. Some people try for a year, 2 years, and so that, I think that's one thing. Tell him that it's really going to cut down the time potentially that it'll take.
Gives you an understanding of where you stand.
And look, I've been through the process actually several times, and it can be a little daunting when you first go in there, but they provide you with plenty of good viewing material. And at the end of the day, you just get to do what all blokes are very good at doing. You have a little tug, and it's actually not that bad. So you can tell him that he'll get to go and look at some free porn, and he's really just got to masturbate.
Enjoy the process.
How hard can it be? But the main thing is, look, I mean, obviously he may be a little sensitive about it, but this is all about, if you've been trying for a while, you really just want to make sure that there are no problems and expedite the process so that if there is a problem, you can get onto it, and you're not still trying in 3 years' time, and who knows what that can do to your relationship. So they're the 2 points.
Terrific.
I hope that helps. Thirdly, Tombo, what have we got?
Okay, this is one following on from our obviously How to Conceive blog from earlier in the week, and we've got a question here which asks, how do I get my fella to stay inside me after he has ejaculated to maximise the chances of the sperm taking? Sam.
That's a tricky one, Tombo. I'm not so sure I can add much light onto that one.
What can you tell me though, that the longer that the fella stays inside,
well, I think
increases the potential or chances?
Yeah, I have read that if you do stay inside for a couple of minutes, it does help.
Sure.
So short of tying him to the bed so that he can't escape. No, look, I think the key is, I'll tell you what not to do. I don't know the answer to that one. That's a tricky one, and you just got to cuddle him and bear hug him and don't let him go. But I'll tell you what not to do, and that is when he has ejaculated inside you, and if he does withdraw, the last thing you want to do is pull the knees up to the chest, start rocking, and look like you are officially just an insemination trap. Yeah. And when he says, what's going on, you tell him, I can't get up, I can't do this, I can't, because that's going to gets back to what we were saying the other day, and that is, you're going to make him feel like the only reason that you had sex with him was
to produce a baby,
and that may well be the case.
But
we don't want him to think that.
Correct.
So the key is hold it on as tight as you can, don't let him go. And secondly, if he does get out, then just play it pretty cool and just lie there and pretend you might have a little bit of a nap for 5 minutes.
Yep.
What do you think about that, Tombo?
That's good advice.
Don't know if it's going to work, girls, but